Brittany Renner is seeking an increase in child support from PJ, aiming for a staggering $35,000 a month. This demand has escalated the situation dramatically. Brittany's request is stirring significant reactions, and, with emotions at this peak, her next actions could have major implications. What's actually happening with them? Let's dissect it. The ideal chaos. When affection, wealth, and celebrity intersect. What occurs when an experienced social media star boasting millions of admirers? Encounters of budding basketball talent just stepping into adulthood? What happens when a romance sparked by Instagram's glow and the allure of courtside fame deteriorates into a highly publicized and contentious custody dispute? Perhaps the most acrimonious the celebrity world has seen lately. What insights does this offer about the perilous blend of love, wealth, and notoriety today? The saga of Brittany Renner and PJ Washington transcends a mere celebrity split. It has sparked a cultural conversation that delves into issues of age disparity, financial accountability, ethics in co-parenting, and the way social media can be weaponized in personal conflicts. By October 2025, the drama has escalated dramatically, with Renner demanding $35,000 monthly in child support after Washington secured an impressive $90 million contract extension with the Dallas Mavericks. To grasp the full context of this moment, where viral custody footage has captivated millions and allegations of manipulation and neglect have been hurled from both sides, affecting a 4-year-old child caught in the turmoil, we must trace back to the inception of this narrative. Let's take a step back to February 2019, during a pivotal basketball game at the University of Kentucky, where unexpected events unfolded. Imagine the scene in February 2019, as the Kentucky Wildcats navigate another thrilling season. In the stands is Brittany Renner, already prominent in the influencer realm with 2.5 million followers on Instagram, her reputation preceding her every appearance. On the basketball court, 20-year-old Paul Jamin Washington Jr., widely recognized as PJ, is demonstrating the talents that will lead him to become a first-round NBA draft selection. However, their stories had started to intertwine months prior, in the realm of online interactions where contemporary love stories often begin. Washington had been actively pursuing Renner through various social media platforms, sliding into her DMs and attempting to engage with her on Snapchat, clearly expressing his interest. Yet, Renner, who was 26 and involved with a Denver Nuggets player, initially brushed off his attempts. The 6-year age difference weighed heavily on her thoughts. He would slip into my DMs, attempt to connect on Snapchat, but I didn't take him seriously. I thought to myself, my sister is his age, and I used to consider my sister so young. There's no way I could ever be with someone her age. Their initial face-to-face encounter happened in July 2018 at one of Renner's events, the kind of chic affair that had become a staple in her influencer life. Washington arrived, introduced himself, they snapped a photo together, and that appeared to be the end of it. Or so it appeared. Yet Washington, showcasing the relentless spirit that helped him thrive on the basketball court, refused to back down. By February 2019, he issued an invitation that Renner found hard to turn down. Come see him play at Kentucky, and that's when the narrative takes a twist. Years down the line, Renner would uncover a detail that reframed the whole story of their beginnings. He asked me to the game, and I was like, all right, sounds great, thinking he genuinely wanted to meet me. No big deal. Later in our relationship, I discovered he had recently exited another romance and invited me to provoke his ex-juicy, right? The complicated dynamics were taking shape. This young man, newly single, was leveraging a well-known influencer to send a message to his former girlfriend. Meanwhile, Renner saw the invite as a fun opportunity, more intrigued by Kentucky's basketball culture than any romantic intent. However, everything changed when they met face-to-face, even with her apprehensions about their age difference and the fact that her sister was the same age as him. Renner felt a real attraction to Washington's vibrancy and sense of maturity. Upon our first encounter, I perceived him as an old spirit. His presence exuded a calming and soothing vibe that prompted me to consider things anew. I thought, why should age be a factor? 6 years difference. What's the significance? 6 years younger or older, what does it really change? This man stands apart. Washington reached out to Renner for another game that coincidentally landed on her birthday, and from that instant, they connected daily. Even with the age difference that had initially made Renner hesitate, and regardless of their distinct life phases, her being a seasoned influencer well acquainted with the limelight, and him as a college sophomore on the brink of a professional basketball career, they started creating something meaningful to each of them. The love story that unfolded between Renner and Washington in 2019 seemed idyllic at first glance. Their social media snapshots, often accompanied by phrases such as "my serenity," depicted a youthful couple utterly in love. Renner was frequently spotted courtside at Hornets games following Washington's selection as the 12th overall pick by Charlotte in June 2019. Her encouragement was both evident and enthusiastic. They were crafting what seemed to be a contemporary fairy tale romance, rich with the typical elements of online affection. By February 2020, Washington took the step of asking Renner to be his girlfriend officially, marking a pivotal moment in their relationship. For Renner, this was an opportunity to redefine herself, to step away from her past of dating high-profile individuals without finding lasting love. She made a tough choice to leave Los Angeles and abandon her condo in Woodland Hills when her lease ended in April 2020, relocating to Charlotte to fully invest in their relationship. Initially, she secured her own apartment, keeping a sense of autonomy with an 8-month lease. However, by the summer of 2020, Washington proposed that she move into his home, and she readily accepted. She had transitioned into his domain, where it increasingly felt like she was adhering to his standards. This marked the onset of the fairy tale's fractures, which would ultimately widen into rifts. Coexisting with a young NBA player enjoying newfound affluence and the accompanying societal expectations meant dealing with dynamics that Renner, despite her extensive background, hadn't fully foreseen. It's crucial to pause here and grasp the significance of the situation. Renner's entire professional journey, her financial autonomy, and her public persona were intricately tied to her Instagram following. By 2020, she had amassed 4.6 million followers, was making around $50,000 per sponsored post, had introduced the Renner fitness app, and had established collaborations with brands like Gymshark, all hinged on her bold posts, fitness content, and meticulously crafted image. These endeavors were far more than mere self-indulgence. They constituted her source of income. However, by August 2020, while she was expecting Washington's child, she realized that upholding her public persona clashed with her partner's desires. During my pregnancy, he generously suggested, "You can take a break from posting, just unwind and concentrate on your baking and serenity." He never outright forbade me from sharing. Instead, he framed it as, "What drives you to do that? What prompts you to share in that manner? Why must your posts reflect it?" Washington, knowingly or not, pushed her to alter her public identity. And Renner, thinking this could lead her to become a candidate for marriage, opted to conform. She adjusted her content accordingly. She adjusted her perspective. She conformed to the anticipated behaviors required in her new position. Although their outward appearance as a couple seemed strong throughout 2020 and into early 2021, behind the scenes, discord was brewing. Leaked direct messages, which would eventually come alight via TMZ, showed Washington confronting Renner over claims of him leveraging her for fame, while she pointed out his emotional absence during her pregnancy. These weren't mere disagreements. They were core allegations questioning the essence of their relationship. The shadow of Renner's history cast a pall over their interactions. In her memoir from 2018, Judge This Cover, she recounted 7 discreet affairs with notable figures, rumored to include Trey Songz, Colin Kaepernick, James Harden, Drake, Lil Uzi Vert, and Ben Simmons. Although Renner portrayed the book as a warning against becoming involved with men who viewed her merely as an accolade rather than an equal, critics interpreted it differently, seeing it as a guide for someone who pursued high-profile relationships for fame and recognition. Since April 2019, users on platforms such as X had raised concerns, branding Renner a predator who preyed on young athletes. The combination of her established notoriety and the 6-year age difference fostered perceptions of an inherent power disparity. She possessed the know-how, the visibility, and the acumen to maneuver through the realm of celebrity, while Washington was still acclimating to his role in the NBA. On May 5, 2021, their son, Paul Jermaine Washington III, affectionately known as PJ Jr., came into the world. For a fleeting instant, it appeared that this new life could anchor their relationship, providing a shared purpose that transcended their individual struggles. Yet, this glimmer of optimism was heartbreakingly ephemeral. Thus began the custody battle, a public conflict laden with deeply personal implications. Merely 2 months following the arrival of PJ Jr. Los AS in July 2021, the dynamics between Brittany Renner and PJ Washington unraveled dramatically. Washington left their joint residence in Charlotte, triggering a social media frenzy that would shape future public conflicts for years. On July 15, 2021, Washington tweeted, "You was faking it the whole time," accompanied by a clown emoji. This was an unmistakable public charge. In his view, Renner's feelings, her devotion, and even her love for their son were merely an act. She had represented a character, and that performance had come to an end. The tenant's reply hit hard on Instagram stories. "Explain how I pretended to bear your child for 9 months." The division was clear, and the X unleashed the trending hashtag Brittany Renner exposed, amassing 12,000 posts. Supporters started unearthing excerpts from her autobiography, especially lines such as, "I played the game to win," which they wielded to portray her as devious and strategic. The story was taking shape rapidly. The Renner had set her sights on an unsuspecting young athlete, ensnaring him with the pretense of a child, and her deceit was now laid bare. Yet, this was merely the start of the turmoil. In December 2021, 5 months post-separation, tensions soared, creating shadows that would linger over their connection for years. Renner received an invitation to address students at Jackson State University, her own former school. There, she shared the stage with famed coach Deion Sanders to discuss women who prey on athletes. an irony that resonated with all present. In this case, a woman labeled as such a predator was now cautioning young athletes about individuals resembling her. Washington took to Twitter, branding her a phony and claiming she had ensnared him with her child. Subsequently, Renner unleashed a revelation that encapsulated their dysfunctional co-parenting. In a tweet that has since been removed, she stated, "I possess 127 screenshots and 30 videos." The message was unmistakable. She claimed to have proof of Washington's unfaithfulness during her pregnancy and showed no hesitation to unveil it if provoked. The specifics of the images and videos have remained undisclosed, yet the mere suggestion caused a stir on social networks. Critics refer to her actions as blackmail, with one comment receiving 8,000 likes, asserting that she was holding a bomb above him. Although no legal steps were taken and no charges related to extortion were pursued, the episode established Renner as someone ready to exploit personal details for advantage in the public's view. The subsequent legal disputes following their separation were intricate and prolonged. In November 2022, a court in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, established a temporary joint custody arrangement, allowing both parents nearly equal visitation privileges. Child support was initially pegged at $2,500 a month, determined by Washington's then annual salary of around $3 million as a forward for the Charlotte Hornets, who was signed to a 4-year, $12 million rookie deal. Meanwhile, Renner was still making considerable income as an influencer, reportedly earning about $50,000 per sponsored post on Instagram at her peak in 2021. However, by November 2024, the situation had shifted significantly. Washington had been traded to the Dallas Mavericks and had accrued career earnings nearing $34 million. A consent decree concluded in Mecklenburg County showcased these developments. Updated conditions came with revised terms, raising child support to $5,500 monthly, amounting to $66,000 each year. Washington additionally settled a $130,000 one-time payment, which addressed overdue support dating from 2021 to 2023, along with Renner's legal expenses, recognizing her position as the main caregiver. Joint custody remained in place, with Washington tasked with the care of PJ Jr. and ES health coverage, along with 50% of all academic and health-related costs. Importantly, the agreement featured a confidentiality clause preventing either party from making derogatory remarks publicly to safeguard their child, a measure necessitated by their earlier social media conflict. From 2022 through 2024, their collaborative parenting dynamic remained fraught and adversarial. The mother accused Washington of being erratic with visitations, neglecting nearly 40% of the agreed-upon days, while Washington's representatives contended she placed undue demands on scheduling and was excessively controlling. The distance between their locations exacerbated the situation. In 2023, the tenant relocated to Los Angeles for her part in basketball-wide seasons 10 and 12, necessitating significant planning for custody transfers. As her professional and personal circumstances became more precarious, Washington discovered something he always lacked: tranquility. Starting in 2022, he began a relationship with Alyssa Chanel, a model and salon owner from Dallas boasting 1.2 million followers on Instagram. By November 2022, they celebrated the arrival of their first child, Preston. By October 2023, they exchanged vows in an extravagant ceremony in Dallas, with Chanel sharing a heartfelt post about forever. In February 2025, their family grew with the birth of their second son, Paxton Jace. Chanel also integrated her son, Aiden, who was born in 2017, into their newly merged family. Washington's online persona transformed dramatically, now featuring numerous posts celebrating family pride and his role as a father, showcasing a sense of domestic harmony that sharply contrasted with the earlier tumult of his relationship with Renner. Occasionally, Chanel hinted at Renner with subtle remarks, such as a cryptic post in May 2024 that stated, "Some women prefer drama over tranquility." The intent was unmistakable. Washington had transitioned into a more fulfilling and secure partnership, leaving the past behind. In contrast, Renner's circumstances took a divergent path. In 2024, she embraced Islam, revealing her choice through an Instagram live session, stating, "I discovered tranquility in surrendering to Allah." She momentarily embraced modest attire and embarked on what she described as a spiritual union with rapper Kevin Gates on April 6, 2025, a relationship that, as per Vibe, lacked legal status. The magazine's run lasted precisely 52 days, concluding on May 28, 2025, coinciding with Gates' divorce from Drecka Gates, which he initiated on July 10, 2025. Observers criticized Renner's change in faith as a mere publicity maneuver, particularly since she quickly returned to sharing daring content right after her separation from Gates. The fleeting marriage appeared less about true spiritual connection and more about her ongoing quest for affirmation and security through associations with notable figures. However, the harshest blow to Renner's stability struck in June 2025 when she was dismissed from Basketball Wives due to dwindling viewership. Instantly, the reliable income that underpinned her way of life disappeared. Court filings submitted in September 2025 disclosed the severity of her financial crisis, revealing that Renner reported a mere $81 in her bank account and lacked a consistent income. Her influencer income had suffered a drastic decline from $50,000 per post at her peak to around $10,000 per post by 2025, as noted by influencer marketing experts. She found herself in a deep financial hole while her former partner prospered. Then, in September 2025, the situation erupted in a highly public and dramatic manner. On September 1st, 2025, a 97-second video captured by Renner's mother Jody during a rain-lashed custody exchange in North Carolina went viral, racking up 10.2 million views on X. In a video shared by Renner, a fiery dispute unfolded, exposing the utter collapse of their co-parenting dynamic. The footage shows Renner passing PJ Jr.'s his backpack, voicing that their 4-year-old son cries during these transitions, and openly blaming Washington for her erratic parenting. Washington counters by claiming she's coddling him and insists that she halt the recording. At that moment, Jody bursts in with a sensational and unsubstantiated allegation, stating that Washington dropped $170,000 on Elisa Chanel, the hoe, while only allocating $11,000 to PJ Jr.'s account. Washington reacted instantly and intensely. Chanel then leaves the vehicle, and it seems as if things might escalate physically before the video suddenly stops. The internet erupted. Comedian Ricky Smiley commented on the video during his radio program, labeling Renner a self-absorbed individual who was placing drama above her child's welfare, stating, "You're turning fatherhood into a nightmare for him." The video garnered over 2 million views on YouTube, heightening the backlash. Analysis on X indicated that around 80% of posts criticized Renner, with many users alleging she orchestrated a setup right after his $90 million contract renewal was revealed in September 2025. As the custody battle heated up, the financial implications soared, largely due to Brittany Renner's request for a significant hike in child support, escalating their dispute to a new, volatile peak. It was the cost of influence, fame, and parenthood. Just 28 days after the viral custody exchange video lit up social media, on September 29, 2025, Brittany Renner lodged a motion in Los Angeles Superior Court, rekindling their ongoing saga and bringing their contentious fight back into the spotlight. Her request was both shocking and clear-cut. She sought to elevate PJ Washington's monthly child support from $5,500 to $35,000, marking an increase of $29,500, or nearly 536%. Furthermore, she asked for $50,000 to cover legal costs, pointing out the intricacies of the upcoming litigation. This request came at a strategic moment. Washington had recently inked a 4-year extension worth $90 million with the Dallas Mavericks. This deal secured him around $1.4 million monthly until the end of the 2029 to 2030 season. His net worth was now projected to be between $40 million and $50 million following the deal. The funds were available. Renner sought her portion for their child. In her legal documentation, Renner presented her case with thorough financial analyses and heartfelt arguments. She contended that the existing $5,500 monthly sum amounted to a mere 0.38% of Washington's earnings each month, a statistic she described as woefully insufficient considering his recent fortune. She asserted that she was unable to give PJ Jr. with a lifestyle that bears little resemblance to her father's, highlighting the significant differences between Washington's existence and her reality. In legal filings, Renner detailed her monthly costs for raising PJ Jr. in Los Angeles. This included $10,000 for a West Hills rental, $5,000 on childcare, $3,000 for travel expenses tied to custody exchanges between Los Angeles and Dallas, and $2,000 for securing therapy and support for PJ Jr. to manage the public attention and emotional strain stemming from his parents' dispute. These costs amounted to $20,000 each month, significantly surpassing the existing support arrangement. The renter pointed out the extravagant lifestyle Washington was affording his other children with Elisa Chanel, which included numerous high-end vehicles, shopping sprees at luxury brands, opulent holidays, and an array of designer apparel regularly showcased on social media. The message was unmistakable. PJ Jr. warranted the same quality of life, and the current support payments rendered that unattainable. Her financial downfall was pivotal to her case. Following her dismissal from Basketball Wives in June 2025, Renner reported having just $81 in her bank account and no reliable source of income. By that time, her earnings as an influencer had plummeted to around $10,000 per post, down from the $50,000 she once commanded. Court filings revealed she was burdened with $20,000 in credit card debt and $15,000 in legal expenses related to past lawsuits. She described herself as being in dire financial straits, contrasting sharply with her ex-partner's newfound wealth. The documents also revealed purported text messages from Washington that Us Weekly published in September 2025. In these communications, Washington criticized Renner for her use of the child support funds. He argued that with the money she received, she should at least be providing him with clothing and taking him for haircuts. Renner responded in her court documents that the $5,500 was merely enough for fundamental needs and did not account for the emotional and social aspects of a child navigating two drastically different environments. Her modest rental in Los Angeles compared to Washington's opulent mansion in Dallas. Therefore, Brittany Renner is seeking an increase in child support from PJ, a minimum of $35,000 monthly. It's outrageous. Brittany Renner is requesting the court to raise PJ Washington's child support payments, stating in a recent filing that $500 a month falls woefully short. What does a single child require? It's baffling how this figure adds up. Washington's legal representatives responded via statements covered by Marca, describing Renner's request for $35,000 as excessively greedy and far beyond the child support norms in North Carolina and California for high earners, which generally limit support to 20 to 30% of income. They argue that Renner has ample earning potential as an influencer with 4.6 million followers, possibly able to earn around $500,000 a year if posting 10 times a month. They cited Washington's ongoing contributions, $66,000 annually in support, and a $130,000 one-time payment in 2024 as proof that he is fulfilling his financial responsibilities. Washington's experts assessed that PJ Jr. TS had reasonable monthly needs of around $10,000 at most, deeming Renner's demand of $35,000 as excessive and self-interested. Social media was ablaze with claims that Renner was merely envious of Washington's fresh start with Chanel, seeking to preserve a lavish lifestyle for herself instead of genuinely addressing their son's welfare. This long-standing narrative, which painted Renner as a gold digger who had taken advantage of an innocent young athlete, appeared validated in the eyes of numerous onlookers. Ex-posts receiving tens of thousands of likes proclaimed she had orchestrated this all along, and karma finally caught up with her. The $35,000 amount became a symbol of everything critics deemed flawed in celebrity child support cases, where excessive sums had little relation to a child's actual needs. Yet beneath the sensationalism and social media outrage lay genuine concerns about equity, fairness, and what children in these situations rightfully deserve. California's family law system, unlike North Carolina's more conservative measures, does take into account the child's established lifestyle when deciding support in high-income situations. This legal principle, detailed in the Family Law Quarterly, asserts that a child should not face a sudden drop in living standards merely due to their parent separation, especially when one parent can afford to ensure a stable lifestyle. PJ Jr. immerses himself in his father's realm, filled with elite education, opulent residences, high-end fashion, and extravagant trips. However, upon returning to his mother's modest Airbnb, where she shops at Target for his apparel, the disparity is glaring and possibly bewildering for a 4-year-old attempting to navigate both environments. Nevertheless, the actions and past of the Renners significantly hindered empathy towards her requests. Her custody video from September 1st, which several legal experts claimed infringed the 2024 gag order, seemed designed to publicly embarrass Washington and gain leverage for her financial demands. Her 2021 threat to divulge 127 screenshots and 30 videos, even though it led to no criminal extortion charges, set a precedent of weaponizing private information. Her shift to Islam and quick marriage to Kevin Gates, followed closely by a return to risque content, struck many as more opportunistic than a sincere quest for spirituality. This memoir, framed by her detailed recounted experiences with affluent, renowned men, loomed over the entire narrative, allowing critics to portray her involvement with Washington as merely another strategic maneuver in an ongoing pattern. The public, just or not, perceive her as consistently driven by wealth and prestige, viewing her demand for child support as the latest installment in that saga. Meanwhile, Washington largely upheld his composure and dignity during the ordeal. In his September 2025 statement to ESPN, he expressed, "I'm dedicated to being an excellent father and player." Silence regarding the noise hinted at a strategic choice to remain dignified in public, despite the custody footage revealing a brief loss of composure. His partnership with Elisa Chanel and their blended family illustrated a scene of stability and normalcy, starkly contrasting the chaos of the Renner. Posts on social media, showcasing his personal transformation and liberation from a toxic relationship, reinforced the image of Washington as someone who had successfully navigated challenges and created a better life. As of October 2025, there has been no decision on the Renners' request for increased child support. A hearing has been set for November 2025, where a judge will weigh conflicting factors: the genuine requirements of a child aged 4, the income potential of each parent, California's guidelines on maintaining a certain quality of life, worries that one parent may exploit public influence for monetary benefits, and the risk of infringing upon previous court rulings via social media disputes. We appreciate your viewership. If this video resonated with you, tap on one of the boxes appearing on your screen to explore similar videos.